Hello there, good morning and welcome to another daily dose of Claret and Booze daily updates. My name's John, also known as Virgil of the Marshes. Today I've got three very interesting and short news stories or discussion points that I'm going to raise with yourselves. And please do have any comments you want to make on the video. Don't be shy, I do read them all. Don't worry, I don't take offence. First of all, I'd like to talk about our fantastic Europa League campaign and a definite boost that we've had. Now, it's come to be known that if we do win the Europa League this season, not only will we qualify for the Champions League, but we will be seeded, which means we will not have to go through any qualification. We will go straight into the group stages and we will be seeded, which means we will miss out on playing some of the big boys. Now, at the end of the day, you could argue that most teams that are going to be in the Champions League are going to be big, hard-hitting teams. But let's be honest, we'd rather play some than others. So if the campaign of the Europa League didn't have any more of a temptation in terms of winning a trophy, the ramifications that it can have for next season are fantastic as well. As we know, this season in the Europa League has been brilliant. We've beaten some good teams. We've got through some tough games. Obviously, Seville and/or Lyon. We are where we are now, which is in the final four, where we have to play Frankfurt. And that's a big if we beat Frankfurt, we will be then moving on to be playing either Leipzig or Rangers. Now, with the incentive of not only winning a trophy, but getting into the Champions League as one of the seeded teams, the carrot couldn't be big enough. In my opinion, this is a fantastic opportunity to push on. And can you imagine the calibre of players that we could possibly attract if we got into the Champions League? Now, I for one think that the Europa League is ours now. I've really got a good feeling about this. We've got all the old historians coming out and talking about 1976 when we last played Eintracht Frankfurt. I'm positive. I'm really looking forward to the semi-final. It's not going to be easy. Of course, it's not a given, but I think we can do it. They're no mugs. They beat Barcelona. They play very much on the front foot. They press high. They're in your face. Pretty similar to us, really. They like to play counter-attacking football as well to some degree, but they are a force to be reckoned with. So let's not take it for granted. However, the news that if we win it, not only do we get in the Champions League, but we also become a seeded team, I think it's a fantastic incentive and will be an option for us to progress as a club. So let's all get behind the boys, as I know we will be. We know we've had a couple of bad results in the league, but the Europa League, I can smell success, and I know plenty of you lot can out there. Moving on to my second story. Now, this is in regards to the West Ham #1 jersey. As we know, currently, rightly or wrongly, because I know there's a big debate about this, Lucas Fabianski, 37-year-old Lucas Fabianski, is still our #1 goalkeeper. And he has recently penned a new one-year contract, which a lot of people were surprised about. But if I may, I wasn't. He will probably look to become some sort of coaching role, whether it's at West Ham or going forward in his career. And this is the first steps into that. He will probably be second choice, possibly third choice. We don't know what's going to happen elsewhere. And a lot of people quite rightly are calling for Areola to be #1 next season. However, the club have been linked with, especially after his performance against us on Sunday, have been linked with 29-year-old Burnley and English international goalkeeper Nick Pope, who I'm sure you would all agree had a fantastic game against us on Sunday. But Pope is somebody who's caught the eye for a long time. He's played a lot of Premier League games. He's an England squad member regular. He's a fantastic shot stopper. We all know that. And he's got a fantastic backstory. He's played non-league as well. He's played in all the leagues coming up into the Premier League one way or another. He's a fantastic goalkeeper. And at 29, you could argue that he's coming into the prime part of his career as a goalkeeper. However, we've got Areola. Areola has been our cup keeper this season. He's only played one league game. He's been second fiddle to Fabianski. And whilst I've been a big fan of Fabianski over the years, and I don't think he should be dropped just yet, it does seem to me that Areola is a far better all-round goalkeeper. The problem for me is, and not for me, because I'd sign him today, the problem for me is his wages. Now, we know that he's on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, and he's meant to be on around £110,000 a week, which is a lot of money, okay? If you look at Nick Pope's on about £35,000 a week. So, for all intents and purposes, Areola's on 3 times as much money as him. Now, you could argue that doesn't matter, and I agree. However, we know what the club can be like in terms of wages. And if we signed Areola for the £10 million fee that is reported that it cost, and also give him or match the £110,000 a week wages that he's currently on at PSG, he will become one of our biggest earners at the club. I'm not sure that West Ham will go down that road now. I think they'll look elsewhere initially. I really, really do. Now, we know we've been linked with Sam Johnston in the past at West Bromwich Albion, who are currently in the Championship. But if we were to go elsewhere, I'd be more than happy to go for Nick Pope. I think he's a fantastic shot stopper. I think he's very commanding. He comes off his line. He clears the ball well. He's commanding in the box, much like Areola. The only downside of Nick Pope, in my opinion, is he's ball at the feet skills. I don't think he has the same skills with the ball at his feet as Areola does. And that, for me, is a little bit of a problem, because we all know that we're a counter-attacking team, and we have to, and we do try to move the ball quickly from back to front. And I've noticed over the last few years, since I've been watching Pope, that he doesn't seem as comfortable coming out with the ball with his feet. He's a typical keeper. He's there to save shots. He's a fantastic shot stopper. But Areola is more of a modern-day goalkeeper. So if I had the choice, I'd go for Areola, but we are being heavily linked with Nick Pope. Obviously, because Burnley are in a relegation battle, and it looks like there's a possibility that they will lose their Premier League status. Now, if they went down, I'm sure we wouldn't be the only club sniffing around looking for Nick Pope or looking to sign Nick Pope. And, you know, that's not surprising. He is a fantastic keeper, and we've been linked heavily with him now since the game against Burnley. And I think in some ways, maybe the game against us, where he performed fantastically well, was a little bit of a putting himself in the shop window unwittingly, in terms of West Ham, Moyes and the board and the scouts saying, yeah, this guy could be for us. Now, I don't want you to get this wrong. I would rather have Areola, but I can see his wages being a stumbling block. And people would argue, well, if we want to progress, we've got to pay wages. I get that. But for a goalkeeper to be on 110 grand a week, it's a lot of money. It's an awful lot of money. And I'm not digging at goalkeepers, but we all know that generally the more progressive players in terms of attacking players seem to get paid the most, rightly or wrongly. I would all day long go for Areola. We are being heavily linked with Nick Pope. Could we sign both? I don't think so. I don't think Pope is going to come to West Ham knowing he's possibly going to be playing second fiddle to Areola. And I know Areola definitely wouldn't. Areola is also being linked with Fulham. Now, Fulham, if they get promoted, are sniffing around Areola, apparently. And obviously, he would have had fond memories of playing there on loan last time out. Obviously, taking away the relegation. But he enjoyed his time there, and he obviously likes London. So for me, in short, Areola's my first choice. But Nick Pope wouldn't be a bad one to get as well. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments, Pope or Areola. Let me know what you think. Now, moving on to story or discussion point number 3. We all know now, unfortunately, at the time of recording this, we all know now that Diop is another centre-back that we've lost. And the discussions this week have already began in regards to extending Angelo Ogbonna's time with us at the club. Now, they are looking to give him another year deal. We know that when he got injured initially, the board you know, quite rightly came out and said, we're going to honour this 1-year deal. We're going to give him that extension and tie him down to the club for another season. He's been a fantastic servant for the club. He's played near on 180 games, I believe. I think he's class. I think he's absolute class. And we saw that when he got injured, the impact it had on our defence, obviously, especially the centre-back pairing. We know Dawson's stepped up. We know Zuma's done okay, but Zuma's out. Diop's out to the end of the season. Dawson's our only recognised centre-back. So for me, getting Ogbonna signed up ASAP will be a little bit of a boost. Now, we're also under the illusion, or we've heard, I should say, that Ogbonna's been back training on grass for some time. A lot of people will therefore be wondering, could he be back at all by the end of the season? I'm not so sure if he will be. I think it's a big ask to try and get him back in time for the end of the season. And what we don't want to do at his age is rush him back and potentially get him any more injuries. I love Angelo, and I'm so happy to see that the board and the representatives have started to sit down this week and discuss that year extension. And I'm sure, you know, like me, you're all hoping that this year extension will come good. Now, we know he's going to be 34 in about a month's time. In May, I think he's 34. You know, but these Italian defenders, they're class. The way they play the game, they can go on forever. Look at Maldini. Look at Baresi. Look at Cellini. Now, I'm not saying he's as good as Baresi as Maldini, but I think you'll agree, for the money we paid for him when we took him from Juventus in 2015, he's been fantastic for us. At times, he's been quite unfancied by certain managers, but he's fought his way back into contention. And I think that getting him signed up for another year will not only do good for him, but it will do good for the club. He'll be able to pass his experience on to all the other centre-backs, all the young centre-backs that we've got supposedly, you know, on the periphery of the squad, namely Baptiste and Elise possibly as well. So let's get him signed up, West Ham. Let's get him signed up ASAP. And hopefully this week we're going to have some good news regarding our centre-backs. So that's it for today. I hope you'll have a good day going forwards. And let's hope we get some good news in terms of a lack of injuries for once. We do these shows daily now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Gary, myself and Nick. And if you like what you see, please don't hesitate, like the video, leave any comments you want. And this is the boring bit now, okay? If you like what we do, please subscribe to the channel. On Friday, on our Claret and Booze Up, we've got a fantastic guest. We've got West Ham legend, historian Nigel Khan, Shedman, from the More Than Just a podcast on the show. And alongside him is TV and acting star, some would say royalty, who's also a massive West Ham fan. I know he's been out to Seville and Lyon for the away legs in Europe. David Shaw, a.k.a. Jay's dad, he'll be on the show. So why don't you join Nick, Gary, Nigel, David and myself on Friday from 9 p.m. See you then. Take care.